Okay, so when I get visions, they're just little spurts. They're like 10 seconds here, 15 seconds here. And while it's happening, I'm trying to pay attention to everything I can and gather as many details as I can, which isn't a lot of time to do so. I try to remember what I can remember. I've only seen one picture of Nolan on the boat surrounded by three friends. I do not know if this is a picture from that day. I do not know if this is a previous picture from hanging out, but those are not the swimsuits that I recognized attacking Nolan, dragging Nolan, or holding Nolan under. This does not mean that they didn't know the people that did, that there wasn't a bigger group that met up, that it was more than these three boys out there and there was another set of boys on a different boat. But keep in mind that the reading said that the boys that attacked Nolan in the tarot cards also were out boating that day and were on a boat. One of them did not look like a teenager. One of them looked like he had a mustache and a beard, not full grown, but like, you know, it clearly did not look like a 14, 15, or 16-year-old to me. But again, in America nowadays, kids are looking more grown than ever. Could have been kids. The language of one of those men or boys, when he was yelling at Nolan, where he said, "Where are you going, boy?" is something that someone older would say versus someone younger. So I'm making assumptions and trying to piece it together with very, very little knowledge. Now, like I said before, this did not feel like setup energy. This felt like intoxication, things being taken too far energy. This feels like racism. This feels like Emmett Till. This feels like it has to do with a female, a girl, a group of girls, but particularly one girl, and like I said, of the Caucasian descent. Now, there's a lot of good questions in the comments of this video, and one of them was like, why did his friends have his phone? Why was his friend in possession of the phone? Why was the phone left on the boat? There's actually a pretty simple answer for that. I grew up on the intercoastal waterways of North Carolina. I grew up with a lot of people that had boats. I grew up with a lot of people up and down the outer banks of North Carolina. And the one thing about boating on waterways, especially if there's little islands you can jump off of, if there's little remote places you can pull up the boat and jump out and go explore, spend the day, picnic, party, whatever, you usually leave your electronics inside the boat, because 9 times out of 10 you can't pull all the way up to shore, so you're going to at least jump into knee-deep or waist-high water. So 9 times out of 10, most people who are just there to interact with other kids, have a good time, run around, talk, swim, do whatever, 9 times out of 10 would not keep their phone in their pocket. A, might not be able to afford to replace it. B, have had an accident before where you jumped into the water with your phone, so you have it particularly put up somewhere on the boat. Or C, you just plumb forgot. Maybe you were drinking. Maybe you were partying. Maybe you smoked a little bit of ganja while you were out there. Who knows? There's a million reasons that would be legitimate reasons for a phone to be left on a boat while you're out day partying for the 4th. I'm just putting that part out there. And as far as we know, the phone was handed straight over and wasn't damaged in any way. And if you were going to be privy to a crime, if you had committed a crime that you didn't want to be linked to, and there's a missing person, having their cell phone automatically implicates you. If you did the crime and you already on the water in a boat, there is 2.6 million opportunities. And all of those seconds it took to go back and find someone and everything else to ditch that fucking phone on some real shit. Which makes me think that my initial reading, everything that they're saying, that the friends are not involved in the death. Even if their actions aren't making all sense right now, the fact that they handed in the phone, not broken, in perfect condition, they had it on the boat, and they reported him missing straight from the boat. Didn't wait for the next day, didn't say, he never called us from that girl's house. They didn't come up with a concocted story. They said, this is what happened, this is how long he's been missing, we got his phone. Now keep in mind, I did this reading with not knowing anything about these kids, anything about the people involved, anything really about Nolan. And I said, the mother and the family and friends are grieving hard. There's a lot of inconsistencies. I said that evidence was hidden and that whoever did perpetuate this or is helping hide this has direct connections to law enforcement, whether that be cops, judge, FBI, something. There is a direct tie between people's involvement that are guilty in this and what ties and leeway they may have through the network. Now, another one of the good questions that was in the comment is, will there be justice? And when I pulled the first reading yesterday, justice appeared in Nolan's cards. And I just pulled cards again, and to say, this event is going to awaken the town. This event is going to awaken the town. A woman or a girl is going to come forward and share her truth. The truth is going to be revealed. It's really going to really shake up the whole town. It's really going to make people passionate about this case. It's going to be a very public trial. But again, for the second time in a row, the justice card appears. Justice. So do I think that eventually we will get justice for Nolan Wells? Yeah, I do. Do I think that these people that committed this crime are going to be able to stay hidden and cover this up? No, I don't. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to try. Again, this is just psychic insight. This is not factual information. I've never been to Mississippi. I've never set foot in Mississippi. I was not there that day. I have no witnesses' account, so none of this is for misinformation. It's just, this is what the tarot cards say. This is the visions that I was giving. I saw him talking to a girl. I saw him laughing and hanging out with his friends and listening to music. I saw him jumping off the boat into the water. I saw him running away from a group of boys/men. I could hear things being yelled at him. I see him being kicked and hitten, beaten, and dragged into the water and held underwater. I see these men putting things in a bag and riding off on a boat. That's all I got.